Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, when you wake up in the early hours of the morning between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. and 5 a.m., it is not just a coincidence. It's a divine moment. God does not operate by chance every moment, every stirring of your heart. And every breath you take serves a purpose. You may ask, why is God waking me up during these silent hours today? I want to share with you 7 key reasons why God chooses these moments to call your attention. Let these points guide your understanding and give meaning to these sacred wake-up calls. When God wakes you in the stillness of the early morning, it is not an accident, it is an invitation. In those moments between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the distractions of the day are absent, the world is silent, and your spirit is most receptive to the voice of God. These early hours are not random interruptions, but a deliberate act of divine alignment. God's ways are precise and his timing is perfect. He knows that your heart and mind are clear at this time, free from the clutter of life's demands, and he uses this sacred moment to give you instructions that will shape your destiny. You see, when God wants to bring clarity to a matter, he often chooses the quiet hours to download his wisdom into your spirit. There are decisions you must make, paths you must walk, and obstacles you will encounter, and God knows that unless you receive his instruction, you might miss his best for your life. Some breakthroughs are not found through mere striving, but through revelation. God will wake you in the night not to inconvenience you, but to speak directly into the matters of your heart about your family, your career, your relationships, or even the condition of your soul. Many of the most important instructions God gives will come when everything else is still. He whispers because his wisdom is precious, reserved for those who are willing to listen. This is the time when he reveals strategies, how to solve a challenge you've been struggling with, how to handle a difficult situation, or how to take the next step in your purpose. There are things he cannot communicate during the noise of the day because your mind is preoccupied with routine conversations and external pressures. But in the stillness of those early hours, his voice is clear. This is also a moment of personal revelation. God might not only instruct you about external matters, but about who you are becoming. His instructions are often not just about what you must do, but about what you must become. He will show you hidden patterns in your behavior that need changing. He might remind you of promises you've neglected or commitments you've abandoned. He will instruct your heart in righteousness, not just so you can succeed in your endeavors, but so that you can reflect his character in every area of your life. His instructions are about molding you into the person who can carry the weight of the blessings he has in store. When God wakes you and gives divine instruction, it requires obedience. The revelation you receive at 4 a.m. will not benefit you unless you act on it. Sometimes his instruction will seem difficult or beyond what you feel capable of, but that is where faith steps in. His commands are not burdensome. They are designed to position you for favor and breakthrough. The instruction may challenge your comfort zone, but it will always align with his greater plan for your life. And remember, delayed obedience is disobedience. What you hear in the quiet moments must be applied in the busy moments if you are to see the fruit of his word. God's instruction in these sacred hours is also a reminder that you are not alone. He is walking with you, guiding you step by step, and leading you into the fullness of his purpose. His word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path, even when the future seems unclear. The instructions you receive in those quiet moments are not just for the present, they are preparation for what lies ahead. God is equipping you now for challenges, opportunities, and assignments that are yet to unfold. What he tells you in these moments may seem small, but it carries the power to shift your entire life. This is why waking up in these hours matters. It's not just about getting a message. It's about receiving divine direction that carries the weight of your destiny. God's instructions are always intentional. They may not make sense to you at first, but they are perfectly aligned with his purpose for your life. Trust his voice when he wakes you. Act on what he tells you, and you will walk in a level of clarity, peace, and purpose that few ever experience. The question is, will you listen? Will you move when he calls you out of the night? Because when God gives divine instruction, it is not merely advice, it is the blueprint for the life he created you to live. When God stirs your spirit awake between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. and 5 a.m., it is not just a passing moment, it is often a divine summons to engage in spiritual warfare and intercession. These hours are not ordinary, they are strategic. In the unseen realm, battles are waged continuously, and there are moments when God needs you to stand in the gap. It's during these early hours that he calls you into action, not because he needs your help, but because he has entrusted you with the authority to shift things in both the natural and spiritual realms through prayer. Spiritual warfare is not a fight against people's circumstances or emotions. It is a confrontation with forces that operate beyond what the eye can see. There are assignments of darkness that work in secret, influencing situations and people to bring confusion, destruction, or delay. God knows what is happening behind the scenes of your life and the lives of those around you, and he calls you to intercede at these critical moments, often before trouble manifests. When you wake up unexpectedly during the night, it could be the Spirit of God alerting you to spiritual activity that requires immediate attention. This is a time when your prayers carry unusual power. In those early hours, heaven is open, and the distractions that weaken your faith during the day are nowhere to be found. Your spirit is clearer, your heart more receptive, and your connection to God more direct. This is why God calls you then. He wants you to pray with precision and focus. Sometimes you may not even know what to pray for, but the Spirit intercedes through you with groanings too deep for words. It is in these moments that God aligns your prayers with his will, using you as a vessel to release his purpose on earth. The warfare God invites you into is not always for yourself, it is often for others. You may be awakened with the face of a friend, a family member, or even someone you barely know flashing in your mind. This is not a coincidence. In the Spirit, God is alerting you to situations that need intervention. Your prayers can block the schemes of the enemy and release healing, protection, or deliverance into someone's life. There are times when people are on the brink of disaster, and only the prayers of an intercessor standing in the gap at the right moment can turn the tide. The enemy also knows the significance of these hours, which is why the battles intensify. There are forces that move under the cover of darkness, hoping to sow fear, confusion, or despair. But God has given you authority through prayer to bind and loose, to declare and cancel, to push back the plans of the enemy. When you respond to God's wake-up call, you are not just praying words into the air, you are partnering with heaven to bring God's will into situations that the enemy hoped to control. Your prayers have the power to break chains, shift atmospheres, and release blessings that were being held back. This is not the time for passive prayers. When God wakes you up in the night for warfare, he is calling you to stand boldly, declaring his promises and resisting every lie of the enemy. There are prayers of warfare that cancel premature death, break generational patterns, and open doors that the enemy tried to shut. There are intercessions that release protection over your children, clarity in decisions, and favor in circumstances where opposition was mounting. When you rise to pray during these hours, you are not alone. Heaven backs you. Angels are dispatched to respond to the words of faith that you release. Warfare is exhausting if done in your own strength, but intercession is done in partnership with the Spirit. It is not about praying long prayers, but praying effective ones, prayers that align with God's heart. Some battles are won in a single declaration, while others require persistence. God may wake you multiple times over days or weeks for the same issue, teaching you the power of endurance. Intercession is not just about the immediate outcome, it's about positioning yourself as a spiritual watchman, someone who is awake to the plans of God and alert to the schemes of the enemy. When God wakes you at this time, it is not a disturbance but a calling. You are being invited into the inner chambers of spiritual warfare, where your prayers become weapons and your words carry the weight of heaven. It's a sacred moment to partner with God, shifting things that cannot be seen but will later be revealed. And when you rise from those moments of intercession, the atmosphere changes not only in the world around you but within you. You become stronger, more aligned with God's will, and more aware of the authority you carry as a child of God. The battles you fight in these hours are not wasted. They are victories in advance, breakthroughs waiting to manifest. So when God stirs you awake in the quiet darkness, don't roll over and go back to sleep. Understand the significance of the moment. This is your time to pray, to fight, to intercede, and to release the power of heaven into the earth. The battle is already won, but God has chosen you to enforce the victory. When God awakens you between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., It is often an invitation for the renewal of your soul, a sacred moment where he draws you close to restore what has been depleted, broken, or burdened by life's trials. Renewal is not simply about rest or recovery, it is about transformation. God uses these quiet hours to bring healing to the deepest parts of your being, your thoughts, emotions, and spirit, aligning you with his purpose and releasing the strength you need to move forward. The renewal of your soul is essential because every battle, disappointment, and challenge you face in life takes a toll, and without divine replenishment, weariness will slowly take root in your heart. The renewal of the soul is a process where God exchanges your burdens for his peace. Many of the struggles you carry are not external, they are internal anxieties, fears, regrets, and frustrations that weigh heavily on your mind. God knows that unless these things are addressed, they will hinder you from walking in the fullness of your calling. When he wakes you during these early hours, he does so to meet you at a place where distractions are gone and you are most vulnerable, humble, and open. It is in this sacred space that God speaks to your heart, not with loud commands, but with a gentle whisper, reminding you of who you are and whose you are. In these moments of renewal, God helps you release what no longer serves you. Some of the things weighing you down are unresolved emotions, bitterness, unforgiveness, and disappointments that you've tucked away, hoping they would disappear on their own. But God loves you too much to leave those things buried. He brings them to the surface, not to condemn you, but to heal you. He invites you to lay them at his feet, to cast your cares upon him because he cares for you. Renewal happens when you stop trying to carry everything yourself and allow God to take the weight that was never yours to bear. This renewal also involves a shift in your thinking. Over time, negative thoughts and limiting beliefs can accumulate, clouding your mind and distorting how you see yourself and your future. God wakes you to cleanse your thoughts, replacing fear with faith, doubt with trust, and confusion with clarity. In those still moments, he rewires your mind with his truth, reminding you that you are not defined by your failures, circumstances, or the opinions of others. Renewal is about reclaiming the identity that God gave you from the beginning, a soul anchored in his love, filled with his peace, and directed by his wisdom. God also renews your soul by reconnecting you with purpose. Life can often pull you in many directions, leaving you feeling lost or disconnected from what truly matters. In the quiet hours of the morning, God reminds you of the dreams he placed within you. He rekindles the fire that may have dimmed under the weight of everyday life. He speaks to you about assignments you've neglected, passions you've abandoned, and promises you've forgotten. Renewal is not just about healing the wounds of the past, it's about reigniting hope for the future. It is a divine reset where God aligns your heart with his plans and infuses you with the courage to pursue them. This renewal also restores your joy. The pressures of life have a way of draining joy, leaving you weary and overwhelmed. But God never intended for you to live in a constant state of struggle. He is a God of joy, and his presence brings fullness of joy. In these moments of renewal, he breathes fresh joy into your soul, not a joy dependent on circumstances, but a joy rooted in the knowledge that you are loved, known, and held by him. This joy becomes your strength, empowering you to face whatever comes your way with a renewed spirit and a confident heart. The renewal of your soul is a gift, but it also requires your participation. God will not force renewal upon you. He invites you into it. When he wakes you in the early hours, he is asking you to step into his presence, to be still and to receive. This renewal is not achieved by striving, but by surrender. It is in your surrender that his spirit works, mending what is broken, refreshing what is weary, and filling what is empty. Renewal is not about fixing yourself. It is about allowing God to do what only he can do in you. Through this renewal, God teaches you how to live from a place of rest, not striving. Renewal is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle of continually returning to God for strength, clarity, and peace. The world will always demand more of you, and circumstances will try to drain you, but when your soul is renewed, you learn to draw from the well of living water within you. You no longer run on empty, chasing after things that cannot sustain you. Instead, you walk in step with God, knowing that his grace is sufficient and his power is made perfect in your weakness. The renewal of your soul equips you to not just survive, but thrive. It empowers you to live fully, love deeply, and give generously. When your soul is renewed, You become a source of light to others, able to pour out because you are filled. You are no longer burdened by yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's worries. Instead, you are present in the moment, attuned to God's voice and responsive to his leading. This is the fruit of renewal, a soul that is at peace, a heart that is open, and a life that reflects the beauty and power of God's presence. When God wakes you between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., it is often because he desires intimacy with you. This is not about religion, duty, or ritual. It's about relationship. Intimacy with God is the highest calling of your life. It is the reason you were created, to know him, to be known by him, and to walk in close fellowship with him. God longs for your presence more than you could ever long for his. His desire for intimacy is not transactional, it is relational. He doesn't wake you during these quiet hours to demand something from you, but to draw you closer, to deepen your connection, and to commune with you in a way that transforms you from the inside out. Intimacy with God means more than proximity, it means transparency. God desires more than your words, he wants your heart. He is not waiting for perfect prayers or eloquent phrases. He calls you into these quiet moments because he wants you as you are, honest, open, and vulnerable. In intimacy, there is no room for pretenses or masks. God sees beyond them all. He knows the real you, the one behind every success, every failure, and every hidden thought. And in his presence, you are fully accepted. There is no need to hide, no need to perform. God desires intimacy because he delights in knowing you and being known by you in return. God is not distant or disconnected. He is personal and near, always drawing you into deeper fellowship with him. The early hours of the morning are significant because they represent an uninterrupted space of time when the noise of the day has faded and your heart can hear his whisper. Intimacy with God is not about accomplishing anything, it's about being present with him. There are times when he just wants to sit with you in silence, letting his love wash over you. It is in these sacred moments that you experience his presence, not as a concept, but as a reality, something tangible that touches the deepest part of your soul. Intimacy is about communion, sharing your heart with God and allowing him to share his heart with you. God has thoughts, plans, and desires he longs to reveal to you, but they can only be received through closeness. Just as a friend whispers secrets in confidence, God shares his mysteries with those who draw near to him. He desires to reveal his plans for your life, his wisdom for your decisions, and his comfort for your struggles. But these things are not given in passing, they are shared in intimacy. God's greatest treasures are not found on the surface, they are discovered in the depths of relationship with him. God's desire for intimacy is also an invitation to partnership. He does not just want to be your savior, he wants to be your friend, your guide, and your counselor. He wants to walk with you through every moment of your life, offering wisdom when you need it, peace when you are anxious, and strength when you are weak. Intimacy with God transforms your relationship with him from one of obligation to one of companionship. You begin to see prayer not as a task, but as a conversation. Worship becomes less about songs and more about communion. And obedience flows not from fear, but from love, because the more you know him, the more you trust him. Intimacy with God brings transformation. In his presence, your heart is reshaped, your thoughts are renewed, and your spirit is revived. The closer you draw to him, the more you become like him. His character begins to reflect in you his patience, kindness, humility, and strength. Intimacy changes you not by demanding you to be better, but by inviting you to behold him. In beholding, you are transformed. You begin to carry his presence into every area of your life, your relationships, your work, and even your struggles, because intimacy with God flows into every part of who you are. God desires intimacy because he wants to satisfy the longing of your soul. No earthly thing can fill the void in your heart that was made for him alone. Many seek fulfillment in success, relationships, or material things, but nothing compares to the peace and joy that come from being close to God. He is your source, your fountain of life. When you drink deeply of his presence, you are refreshed in a way that nothing else can match. You are reminded that you are not alone, not forgotten, and not without purpose. His love anchors you, his voice guides you, and his presence sustains you. This intimacy is not a destination, it is a journey. God desires to walk with you through every season of life, through joy and sorrow, through victories and failures. He is not just present in the highlights, but in the mundane moments as well. And the more you walk with him, the more you realize that his desire for intimacy is not just for special moments, but for every moment. He doesn't just want your mornings, he wants your entire day. He wants to be the one you turn to in every decision, the one you trust with every fear, and the one you celebrate in every joy. Intimacy with God is where life is found. It stretches beyond personal goals or comfort and aligns with his kingdom purpose. But clarity doesn't come without preparation. God often uses these moments of stillness to show you not just the destination, but what must change within you to fulfill that vision. He reveals habits that need to be broken, mindsets that need to shift, and relationships that no longer align with where he is taking you. Clarity is a refining process that strips away what is unnecessary so that you can move forward without being weighed down by distractions or doubts. Clarity also brings confidence. When you see your purpose clearly, you stop comparing your journey to others. You are no longer swayed by opinions or driven by insecurity because you know who you are and what you were created to do. God's vision for your life is not a competition, it is a calling. And when you grasp that calling with clarity, you move with conviction, knowing that you are walking in step with the one who designed you. This clarity liberates you from the pressure to chase after every opportunity that comes your way. Instead, you become selective, focused, and intentional, saying yes only to what aligns with your God-given purpose. The clarity God provides is often accompanied by a renewed sense of passion. Vision alone is not enough. It must be fueled by passion, and passion is reignited when you are clear about why you are here and what God is calling you to do. In these early morning encounters, God breathes life back into dreams you may have abandoned or forgotten. He reminds you of the things that once stirred your heart but got lost in the grind of everyday life. His clarity reconnects you to the desires he placed within you, desires that were always intended to be part of your purpose. Clarity also brings focus to your faith. There is a connection between vision and trust because stepping into purpose requires believing in things not yet seen. God knows that without clarity, doubt will creep in, causing you to question whether you heard him correctly or if you are equipped for the task ahead. But when God gives you clarity, it strengthens your faith. You begin to see obstacles not as signs to quit, but as opportunities to grow. You recognize that every delay and detour has been part of his preparation process, and you trust his timing even when it doesn't align with yours. Through these quiet moments, God not only gives vision for your purpose, but also shows you how to guard it. Purpose can be lost if it is not protected. Distractions, fear, and fatigue are all enemies of vision, and God uses these early hours to remind you to stay the course. He teaches you the discipline of saying no to what doesn't serve your calling and the wisdom of pacing yourself so you don't burn out. Clarity helps you discern between good opportunities and God-ordained assignments. Not every open door is meant to be walked through, and not every battle is yours to fight. When you are clear on your purpose, you move strategically, not emotionally. God's clarity brings peace even when the path ahead is challenging. Purpose is not always easy. It will stretch you, demand sacrifice, and require perseverance. But when you are clear on the vision God has given you, you find peace in the process. You understand that the trials you face are part of the journey, not the end of it. Clarity gives you the endurance to keep going when things get hard because you know what you are working toward. Even when circumstances don't make sense, you are anchored by the vision God has revealed, knowing that he who began a good work in you will be faithful to complete it. Clarity and vision are not one-time revelations. They require ongoing intimacy with God. Just as a compass needs regular alignment to point true north, your purpose requires constant connection with the one who gave it. God uses these moments of stillness to remind you of your identity, sharpen your focus, and renew your commitment to the path ahead. Vision is not just about seeing the end result. It's about walking closely with God through every step of the journey, trusting that he is guiding you even when the way is unclear. When God wakes you in the early hours, he is not just giving you a plan, he is giving you himself. Purpose is not just about doing it, it's about being aligned with God, being obedient to his voice, and being faithful with what he has entrusted to you. Clarity and vision are not burdens to carry, they are gifts to receive. And when you receive them, you walk with a sense of purpose that transforms not just your life, but the lives of those around you. In God's hands, your purpose becomes part of something greater than yourself, a piece of his eternal plan unfolding through you. Correction and alignment are essential components of spiritual growth and destiny fulfillment. When God awakens you in the early morning hours, he often does so to bring you back into alignment with his will, refining your thoughts, actions, and motives. Correction is not punishment, it is an act of love. God corrects not to condemn, but to guide. Alignment is about realigning your steps with the path he has marked out for you, ensuring that your life is in sync with his purpose and plan. Correction begins with conviction. In these quiet hours, God uses the stillness to illuminate areas of your life where you have drifted, whether through decisions, relationships, or habits that no longer reflect his will. Conviction is not the same as guilt. Guilt weighs you down and leaves you feeling condemned, but conviction draws you closer to God. It highlights where you have missed the mark and offers a way back. These moments of correction are opportunities for growth, a chance to adjust and become who God intended you to be. Alignment involves a recalibration of priorities. Often life's demands cause us to veer off course, even if only slightly. But slight misalignments over time can result in major detours from your purpose. God uses correction to bring clarity to what truly matters and to cut away distractions that lead you away from your destiny. It is easy to get caught up in the busyness of life, pursuing good things but missing the God things. Alignment ensures that your efforts and focus are directed toward what God has called you to do, rather than what the world or even your own desires push you toward. Correction is also about restoring order. God is a God of order, and when things in your life are out of alignment, whether emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, disorder begins to affect every area. You may feel stressed, restless, or overwhelmed. In these moments, God's correction becomes an act of realignment, helping you place things back in their rightful place. He reminds you that he must always be at the center, with everything else, career, relationships, goals flowing from that foundation. When God is first, everything else falls into its proper place. Alignment requires humility. Correction is not always easy to accept because it confronts our pride and challenges our assumptions. It reveals areas where we thought we were right, but were actually out of step with God's ways. True alignment requires a teachable spirit, one that is willing to acknowledge mistakes and make changes. God's correction isn't about embarrassment or shame, it's about transformation. He corrects us so that we can walk in his fullness, free from the weight of things that were never meant to carry us. Correction often involves pruning. Just as a gardener prunes branches to encourage healthy growth, God prunes areas in your life that no longer serve your purpose. Pruning is uncomfortable because it involves letting go of relationships, ambitions, or behaviors that once seemed important. But in God's wisdom, he removes what is no longer beneficial, making room for new growth. Alignment with God's will ensures that your life bears the kind of fruit that lasts. It is not about striving, but about thriving in the right season, in the right way, with the right people. Alignment brings peace. When your life is in alignment with God's will, there is an inner peace that transcends external circumstances. You begin to walk in harmony with God's rhythm, no longer striving to control outcomes or worrying about things beyond your influence. Correction aligns your heart with his, teaching you to trust his ways, even when they are different from what you expected. When you are aligned, you no longer feel the constant tension of trying to make things happen on your own. Instead, you walk in step with God's timing, knowing that everything will unfold according to his perfect plan. Correction and alignment also sharpen your discernment. When you are in alignment with God, you are more sensitive to his voice and more aware of his direction. You begin to recognize when something feels off in your spirit, alerting you to subtle shifts that need adjustment. Alignment keeps you spiritually sharp, preventing you from drifting into complacency or compromise. God's correction helps you see things as he sees them, giving you the wisdom to make decisions that reflect his heart and purpose for your life. Alignment with God brings power and effectiveness. When you are aligned, your prayers become more powerful because they are in sync with his will. Your actions become more effective because they flow from divine instruction, not human ambition. Alignment removes the frustration of wasted effort and misplaced energy. It brings clarity to your calling and simplifies your choices, allowing you to focus on what truly matters. With alignment comes confidence not in yourself, but in the one who directs your steps. Ultimately, correction and alignment prepare you for greater things. God's plans for you are always bigger than what you can see in the moment, but to step into those plans, you must be aligned with his will. Correction ensures that you are ready for what lies ahead, equipping you with the character and discipline needed to handle the blessings and responsibilities that come with purpose. Alignment positions you to receive everything God has in store for you, not just material blessings, but spiritual fulfillment, peace, and joy. God's correction is never meant to harm you, but to position you for the best he has to offer. In these early morning encounters, he adjusts what is out of place, refines what is lacking, and aligns you with his perfect will. When you embrace correction with a heart of humility, you step into a life of alignment, one marked by clarity, purpose, and peace. And when your life is aligned with God, you not only fulfill your own purpose, but become a vessel through which his kingdom is established on earth. Preparation for a new season is one of the most critical phases in your spiritual journey. Every season in life carries a purpose, and God never transitions you without preparation. He works through times of waiting, testing, and refining to ensure that you are fully equipped for what lies ahead. These early morning awakenings are often God's invitation to engage with him in the process of preparation. The new season will demand more of you, more maturity, faith, and focus, so God uses this time to shape your character and sharpen your vision to match the weight of what he is bringing into your life. Preparation begins with a shift in mindset. A new season requires new thinking. What worked before may not sustain you in what is to come, and God uses these quiet moments to recalibrate your perspective. He dismantles old ways of thinking and stretches your understanding, teaching you to release what no longer aligns with where he is taking you. Preparation is about learning to unlearn, to let go of past habits, relationships, and mindsets that have served their time but cannot follow you into the next season. It requires trust in God's wisdom, even when it feels uncomfortable to leave behind the familiar. A new season also calls for a refined identity. Who you are becoming is just as important as what you will do. God uses preparation to develop the kind of character that can sustain the opportunities and responsibilities ahead. In this time, he works on your inner life, addressing insecurities, healing wounds, and building endurance. Preparation is not just about skill, but about substance. The new season may bring influence, but without the foundation of integrity, influence can crumble. God ensures that your heart is aligned with his, so that when the opportunities come, you can walk in them without compromising your values or your faith. During preparation, God will also increase your capacity. Every new season carries greater demands, and you must grow to handle them. This process often involves stretching beyond your comfort zone. God will give you new assignments that challenge your limits, not to break you, but to enlarge you. He expands your capacity to love, to lead, to endure, and to trust. Growth can feel exhausting, but it is necessary. If you resist this stretching, you may enter a new season unprepared and find yourself overwhelmed by its demands. But if you embrace the process, you will discover that God's grace is sufficient to sustain you in every challenge. Preparation often requires pruning. God removes what will hinder your progress, whether it's toxic relationships, distractions, or even good things that no longer serve your purpose. Pruning can feel like loss, but it is actually an act of love. Just as a gardener cuts away excess branches to promote healthy growth, God removes what no longer aligns with his plan for you. Pruning clears the way for new growth, ensuring that you enter the new season unburdened by unnecessary weights. This is a time to trust that every loss serves a higher purpose, and that what God removes will be replaced by something greater. Timing is critical in preparation. God operates in seasons, and each one comes with a window of opportunity. If you try to move prematurely, you risk stepping into something you are not ready for. Conversely, if you delay, you might miss the window entirely. This is why early morning encounters are so vital. God uses these moments to synchronize you with his timing. He teaches you the importance of patience, showing you that preparation is not about rushing, but about readiness. When the season shifts, you won't have to force anything. You'll move in step with divine timing, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Preparation also requires discernment. A new season may bring both opportunities and distractions, and not everything that looks good will be from God. In these quiet hours, God sharpens your spiritual discernment, helping you distinguish between what is merely enticing and what is truly aligned with his purpose. He teaches you to listen carefully to his voice, to wait for his confirmation, and to avoid chasing after things that could pull you off course. Discernment ensures that you step into the right doors at the right time, moving with wisdom and precision. Faith is essential in the preparation process. The new season often requires you to walk by faith, not by sight. You may not see the full picture yet, but God uses preparation to build your trust in him. He allows moments of uncertainty to develop your reliance on his promises rather than your own understanding. Preparation teaches you to trust that God is working behind the scenes, aligning everything for your good, even when it seems like nothing is happening. Faith grows in the waiting, and by the time the new season arrives, you will have the confidence to step into it boldly, knowing that God has already gone before you. God also equips you with new tools and skills during preparation. Every season brings new challenges, and what you carried in the past may not be enough to navigate what is to come. God may introduce new responsibilities or place you in situations that force you to learn and adapt. This is not a punishment, but an opportunity. The lessons you learn now will become the tools you need to succeed later. Preparation ensures that when the new season arrives, you are not caught off guard, but are ready to respond with wisdom and strength. Ultimately, preparation aligns your will with God's. It teaches you to surrender your plans and ambitions, trusting that His purpose is far greater than anything you could design for yourself. In these early hours, God refines your desires, aligning them with His kingdom agenda. You begin to understand that the new season is not just about personal advancement, but about fulfilling God's purpose through your life. When you are fully aligned with His will, you enter the new season not seeking your own glory, but desiring to bring Him honor in everything you do. Preparation is God's gift to you. It may not always feel comfortable, and at times it will challenge your patience, but it is a necessary process. God is preparing you not just for the new season, but for the fullness of your purpose. Every moment of waiting, every test, every lesson learned is part of His divine plan to equip you for what lies ahead. And when the new season finally arrives, you will be ready, not just ready to receive it, but ready to thrive in it. You will move with confidence, knowing that you are exactly where God intended you to be, fully prepared to walk in the fullness of His purpose for your life. Friends, waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not just a random disturbance, it's a divine appointment. When God taps your shoulder at this hour, He is inviting you into something greater than yourself. So the next time your eyes open in the stillness of the night, don't resist it, embrace it. Listen, pray, reflect, and align with His will, because these sacred moments have the power to transform your life. The question is, will you answer His call? Will you step into the divine purpose of these early morning hours?